Our favorite weekly holiday is upon us. Let's talk about the comics coming out this week. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is The Pull List. It's my weekly series where I take a look at all the books coming out. I'll tell you which ones I'm most excited for. We'll talk about some that I'm a little behind on, and we'll also talk about some new series debuts and new trade paperbacks hitting the market for this week in comics, Wednesday, February 25th. Man, by the way, I'm sorry. I try to have these videos out on Mondays, but yesterday was just a rough day for me. But comics always make them better. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk about all the books coming out this week, including perhaps my most anticipated book of the first half of the year. And let's go ahead and jump right in with the top of the pile. The top of the pile. These are the books I am most excited for. Usually it's based on my enjoyment of the previous issue of the run. But this week I'm making an exception because there is no book on this list more exciting for me than The New History of the DC Universe, The Dakota Incident. This is a 40-page one-shot brought to you by DC Comics and Milestone Media with a completely stacked creative team. There are 4 different stories in this book with 4 different writers, 4 different artists. We got Nick Draper-Ivey and Edwin Gallman. We've got Joe Illidge and Val DeLandro. We got Stephanie Williams and Carlo Pagulayan. We've also got Morgan Hampton with Fico Ossio. Like there's a lot to enjoy about this book. I have read it. It's amazing. I've got a video coming out later this week breaking it all down, and it is going to feature interviews with every writer on the creative team. So you definitely want to jump in the fray. This book will be easy to find. You should have copies at your local comic shop. It'll probably be on DC Universe Infinite, but we are participating in the Dakota Universe 100K challenge. If we can collectively sell 100,000 copies of this book in the direct market, then that will prove as like sales data enough, hopefully, to convince DC to do a static ongoing series when this is all said and done, so that the milestone characters don't just like fade into the ether. So if you're with me and the creative team, then join the 100K challenge. Go to your local comic shop and pick up this book. Cover price on it is $5.99. I think there's like 4 different covers. I like them all. If I had to pick just one, it's probably going to be the Carlo Pagulayan cover, but I don't have to pick just one because I pre-ordered all of them. Now, next up at the top of the pile is Temporal, issue number 5. The second book on this list. It's got writing credits by Stephanie Williams. This is going to be the final issue of the run of Temporal. This was a miniseries from Stephanie Williams and Asia Fulmore about a mom who, used to be a time-traveling time-traveling thief, and kind of decides to go back for a taste of that old life, and she gets way more than she bargained for. And so she does, kind of go back into like a little time portal in the last issue, and she's got to take her whole family with her. Her whole family's going to have to help get her out of this pickle that she has gotten herself in. And I, for one, am very excited to see how it wraps up. It's probably, until Roots of Madness wraps up, it's my favorite Stephanie Williams book on stands. Cover price on that is $4.99. And the last book at the top of the pile for me this week is The Ultimates, issue number 21. The Ultimates, written by Dennis Camp. I don't know who's on art these days for The Ultimates, but it was Juan Frigeri for the longest. This and Ultimate Endgame are really the only Ultimate Universe titles I have been keeping up with in their final acts. The rest of them, I feel like I'll just binge later. But you should know the Maker is back. The Maker is a different threat than you might have thought he was going to be. Even more impactful somehow. Luke Cage and this new team of defenders looks like it's going to rise up to, meet the occasion. I'm excited to see how that goes. I really like Ultimate Luke Cage. It's one thing I wish we got was an Ultimate Luke Cage series. I guess what he did in the Avengers or the Ultimates was, clues enough to what was happening, but I would have taken a 5-issue miniseries of that. Anyway, cover price on the Ultimates, issue 21, is $4.99. And those are all the books at the top of the pile this week. There's a lot of stuff on the radar, and there's a lot in my box, but that's the stuff that I'm caught up on and really, really excited about. But let's move on to a segment I like to call On the Radar. These are new number ones, new series debuts, new jumping on points for you if you're looking for something, interesting to get into without a whole lot of baggage. First up is a one shot. It's a Star Trek Deviations Threads of Destiny. And our Stephanie Williams counter is now at 3. But Threads of Destiny number 1. This is a one shot, like I said, featuring Uhura, who, if I'm not mistaken, is like the first Black woman member of the Star Fleet. Is that what the Star Trek people are called? The Star Fleet? That sounds right. Anyway, I wasn't a big Star Trek fan growing up. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but like when I was, with my cousins on the weekends, what we would do, we get up early in the morning, we watch the Disney one Saturday morning. So Doug, Pepper Ram, Recess. We might sprinkle in some kids WB like Hysteria, Animaniacs, stuff like that. But then, what was it, like 11 o'clock and 11:30, we would watch Hercules and then Xena Warrior Princess. And then by the time friggin' Star Trek The Next Generation came on, that was our clue that it was time to get out of the house and go outside. And so I've never seen a full episode of Star Trek. And I don't know, am I missing anything? I did see the movie. Who was that dude? I never can keep track of all the Chris's. I think that one's Chris Pine in Star Trek. The one that had Idris Elba was the bad guy. I saw that movie. That was pretty decent. Anyway, that's quite the aside. The point is, Uhura basically finds herself in America during the Civil Rights Movement and gets trying to help this species of people find their way, which is funny because apparently that's what Star Trek did a lot, but with aliens. So to do it with actual humans this time, interesting stuff. Threads of Destiny, issue number 1. Cover price is $4.99. Next up is Amazing Spider-Man Venom Death Spiral, issue number 1. This is your Spider-Man and Venom event for all of you who like Spider-Man and Venom events. I have not been keeping up with Ultimate or Amazing Spider-Man or Venom, but I might pick up this debut issue just to see what the event's all about. Cover price on that is $5.99. Next up is Archie and Friends Space Adventures number 1. Every time I see an Archie book, I put it on the list because it looks interesting. But then I go to the comic shop and I don't actually see it on stand. So I should probably start pre-ordering this because maybe Archie is more niche than I thought. Anyway, Archie in Space. Cover price on that is $4.99. Next up from Mad Cave Studios is a brand new miniseries from Dave Chisholm. This is Ted Okay? Ted is this dude who keeps playing the same song over and over again and doing like just weird stuff. And so there's a lady who's like at his job. Her job is basically to watch him and make sure he's not like a serial killer or something. And she does something that kind of sets him into a weird spiral, and they both have like weird stuff going on. Did I say weird a lot? I don't know. It's by Dave Chisholm, who did Miles Davis in The Search for the Sound and Enter the Blue. Most recently, he did Spectrum, which I just got my deluxe hardcover of that in. I love Dave's art, and I love his mind. It's like the way his mind works. So I'm very excited to see how this series goes. It looks very trippy, to say the least. Cover price on that is $5.99. Next up is The Punisher, issue number 1. This is a Punisher series written by Benjamin Percy. And I don't know. I tried reading Garth Ennis's Punisher. That definitely wasn't for me. That was the first time I ever sold an omnibus. I have never got a book out of my collection so quickly. But anyway, The Punisher is one of those nice or cool, like stoic, vengeful characters that like could have a lot to say if given the right voice. And well, I trust Benjamin Percy to give people good voices. Ever since his runs on Wolverine and X-Force during the Krakoa era, I really like the sort of gravelly introspection, inner monologue type stuff that he does. And I think that could go well in a Frank Castle book, right? Cover price on this debut issue is $5.99. And the last book we'll shout out in the On the Radar segment is Disney Villains Ursula, issue number 1. The Dynamite Disney stuff has been really fun. And the first wave of Disney Villains titles was awesome. We had Cruella de Vil, Hades, Scar, and there's one I'm leaving, Maleficent. Maleficent was my favorite. How am I leaving Maleficent out? So we had all of those. By the way, there's a Kickstarter campaign going. If I'm not mistaken, it might end today or tomorrow. So if you want to get those huge library editions instead of those digest size hardcovers for the OG Disney Villain stuff, check that out. But All that said, I really have enjoyed the way Dynamite is handling all these Disney titles they have licensed to right now. So I expect this will be no different. And The Little Mermaid was like my guilty pleasure Disney movie. We were a Disney house growing up, and I had all the stuff, but I wasn't watching I wasn't watching, what is it? Sleeping Beauty or Snow White. Like, I wasn't going back to those, but Little Mermaid, I ran that back so many times. Anyway, Disney Villains Ursula. Issue number 1, cover price on that is $4.99. And that's it. Those are all the new number 1s that are on the radar for me this week. And yeah, again, there's a lot coming out. So we got to check on the budget, because if I leave it as is and I buy the new number 1s I'm excited about, I got 11 books on my list for a cover price or a total price out the door of about $55.04, which puts me $5.04 over my weekly budget. And I'm already going to be spending a little bit extra for all of my Dakota incident variant covers. So when I visit the best shop in the world, Fight or Flight Comics, I got some tough decisions to make. Let's see what else is in the box. First up is Absolute Martian Manhunter, issue number 9. I kind of stopped keeping up with this after the first story arc was over, but it's only going to get 2 story arcs, so I might as well complete it all in singles and not worry about a hardcover. At least that's what I'm telling myself. $4.99 is the cover price on that. Next up, Detective Comics issue 1106. I think the last issue of that book that I read was 1100, and that's unfortunate. Cover price on that is $4.99. DuckTales issue 11. Speaking of Dynamite doing great stuff with Disney, I've been enjoying this. I'm nowhere near caught up, but I can just pick up an issue of this every now and then out of my short box, and it's just a fun book. I really like how they go back and forth between like sort of ongoing stories in Duckburg, but then you got Uncle Scrooge telling his sort of throwback stories, and those are done in the sort of classic Disney comics style that you might see in something we'll talk about a little bit later. So that's been fun. I really enjoy this DuckTales book. Cover price on that is $4.99. Next up is Justice League Unlimited, issue number 16. And we might as well talk about, well, anyway, Justice League Unlimited, issue 16. Any DCKO tie-in not named DCKO or Night Fight, I'm probably behind on. So that's the case for Justice League Unlimited at $3.99. And that's also the case for Superman. Superman number 35 is out this week from Josh Williamson. And I think Dan Moore is still on Superman. But that's also been tying in heavily to DCKO and the Time Trapper. And it's going to set up a lot of interesting stuff for Superman. But I'm just going to binge read it all on DC Universe Infinite, because I've not been doing a good job keeping up. It's been a rough month over here. But cover price on that one is $4.99. And the last book on my pull list this week is Uncle Scrooge, issue number 5 from Fantagraphics. This is one of the new Disney Comics initiatives they're doing. Basically doing like classic Disney reprints of stuff that typically is not available here in the United States. It's being translated from some European country or somewhere overseas, and it's being seen in our US direct market for the first time. This one's going to print 2 stories. One is called The First Aiders of Dawson, and the second is called Klondike Calculations. It's still in like the gold rush era of Uncle Scrooge, which should be fun. Cover price on that is $5.99. And that's it. Those are all the books that are in the box. Like I said, they're waiting for me at my LCS, Fight or Flight Comics. And if I had to make a cut, I'd probably cut Absolute Martian Manhunter. But it just, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to get all the way to issue 8 and not just see it through to 12. So I'll just be $5 over budget this week. It's fine. But it's time for the final segment of the show, and it's called Trade Waiting. For those of you who are not going to the shop every single Wednesday and trying to make these decisions on what to leave on the shelf and what to finish up later, you get to go to the store. You can go to your Barnes & Noble, your local comic shop, even Amazon, and pick up a trade paperback. It's got a nice chunk of stories all in one sitting. And there's some good ones out this week, starting with Mr. Terrific Year 1. This was written by Al Letson with art by Val DeLandro and Edwin Gallman, both of whom you will see in the Dakota incident one-shot this week. But Mr. Terrific Year 1, tells the story of the first year of Mr. Terrific, some of his earliest adventures. All we really know about Mr. Terrific prior to this is that his time as a hero was really born out of a time period of great grief. This dives into that a little bit deeper, but also what motivated him to get out of it and become, gosh darn, Mr. Terrific. Cover price on that is $17.99. Next up is Speed Racer Volume 1 from Mad Cave Studios. This, one of my favorite titles of last year. I absolutely love this book. I can't wait for it to come back, but you can get the full story arc, first 6 issues of Speed Racer by David Pepose and David Tinto. If you liked the animated show, you're going to love this. If you've never seen the animated show or read the manga and you just like, chase scenes in movies or like Fast and Furious and stuff like that, you'll also love this. It is the perfect blend of action and heart, and it's right up my alley. Love that book. Speed Racer Volume 1, $17.99. Next up is Superman Unlimited Volume 1, Kryptonite Kingdom. I read the first issue of this by Dan Slott and Raphael Albuquerque, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, I'm good on this. I don't need this. This was the first title from the summer of Superman that I dropped. But maybe it reads better in trade. They're introducing some interesting things in the next coming up story arc. So I don't know, maybe check this out on DC Infinite and decide if you want to dive all the way in. Next up, $19.99 is cover price on that one. Next up is Batman and Robin, Volume 2, The Gotham Cycle. This is the second volume of Philip Kennedy Johnson's Batman and Robin. And I'm told it's amazing. I think they're going to wrap up after 3 volumes. So get in on that if you're loving it. Cover price on that is $19.99. Next up, a hardcover from Marvel Comics. This is Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell. I started reading this on Global Comics yesterday. I'm told this is basically like a Dark Knight Returns style book for Daredevil. So if you remember like Spider-Man Reign, which some people meme a lot, maybe I shouldn't have brought that one up. But the point is, it's Old Man Daredevil. Cover price on that is $22. That's Charles Soule and Steve McNiven, if I'm not mistaken, by the way. And the last trade I want to shout out from Dan Panosian is The Last Boy. I picked up the first issue of this and I really liked it. It's like a cool, updated Peter Pan story. And I only read issue 1. So I'm actually very excited about this trade. Cover price on that is $17.99. And that's it. Those are all the books I'm looking out for this week. Like I said, it's a stacked week. Whether you are looking at single issues or trade paperbacks and hardcovers, there's a lot to choose from. The best thing for you to do is just go to your LCS and browse the shelves and pick up something you wouldn't have picked up otherwise. Anyway, it's the last week of Black History Month. I want to say thank you to all of you guys who have been watching all the Black History Month tributes on the channel. And if you're looking at me like, what tributes? It's because you didn't stick around long enough. So go back and see what you missed. Yeah, by the way, I got a video. I told you that already. We got a whole breakdown of the Dakota incident coming. That'll be my next video on the channel. Either Thursday, it might get pushed to Friday because it's been a busy work week for me. But either way, it's coming. Stay tuned for that. And I'll see you then. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.
I don't know what I don't know. Church. I don't know what I